We're like running cars off the road, flipping people over, blowing people up. It's incredible. It's awesome.
Hey guys, it's Dave, and today I want to tell you about how I got into making movies in the first place and how my passion drove me into a situation where I got in over my head.
We're all gonna die.
If you're in the business, you understand what I'm talking about. If you're just getting started in the business, then maybe this can help you not make some of the mistakes that I made. And if you've been around a while and you're still working on your career, and maybe you're looking to make some changes or some adjustments, maybe some of the lessons that I've learned and that I can share with you here will help you adjust your thinking maybe a little bit or change up something somehow to be able to help you get over the hump, do something you've never done before, or break out and do that thing that is driving you from the inside out. What is your passion? What is it? What is your passion? Mine is telling stories and connecting with an audience. When I get to connect with an audience and I get to see them react to the work that I've done, it is like this holy grail for me of work and vocation. Going all the way back to my days playing adventure games and programming adventure games, and my love of story and interaction and drawing the audience into sort of a choose your own adventure kind of a situation. I used to love the choose your own adventure books. If you've never read one, go read one. Stop this video and go read one. They're awesome. But the text-based adventures were basically my way of telling a story, but inviting the audience to come in and be a part of that story. And then that passion led to computer programming. And computer programming, I used to actually program the text-based adventure games. My buddy Jeff and I, we programmed a game called Agent Incognito when we were still in high school. And as part of that, I actually won a scholarship to computer science at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, which is a great engineering school on the Central Coast in California. As time went on, I became a tour guide at Universal Studios. There's a video that I made right here that you can check out about that whole experience, which was amazing and completely life-changing for me. But then that led to a job helping to build the Back to the Future ride at Universal Studios in Hollywood.
Accelerating now to 55 miles per hour. 65, 75, 85, 85 Till Valley in the year 2050. Let's get them.
This was an absolute cutting edge attraction. We took Navy flight simulation motion bases and we put them on scissor lifts that lifted you up into this OmniMax dome and threw you around in sync with this incredible OmniMax film.
Easy, boy. Hey, I'm hit. I know this. What? Wait. Watch those jaws.
I wish I could just reach right through this camera and share with you the visceral experience it was to be able to be on this thing for the first time. I got to test it with the rest of our team. We were a very small production team that helped to manage and build this thing with all the contractors.
Notice the cab forward design. This model is especially designed with ABS braking system, so that when you're traveling through time, you slam on the brakes, you don't lock them up.
We were on site every day testing things out, figuring it out. What was the throughput? What were the materials? What was the scenics? What was the story leading up to it? And my boss, Steven, he knew that I wanted to be a director. He knew that I was really into storytelling. And he gave me an opportunity that absolutely changed my life. When Universal needed an extension to the Q-Line video, Steven came to me and he said, how'd you like to produce an extra 45 minutes of material to go on the monitors so that everybody that has come to Universal Studios to ride the Back to the Future ride can be entertained for 45 minutes in addition to the 20 minutes or whatever that they already had in the queue line. He said, how would you like to do that? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It was fantastic. So I got the opportunity to actually dive into producing and directing. Straight from that job, I went from being a tour guide to a runner to a coordinator and then ultimately to a director. And that was my path into actually creating things. And then after that, I started working for ZM Productions. But that's a different story for another day. So after we were done with Back to the Future and we opened it to rave reviews and just record crowds and everything else, Steven came to me, Steven Marble, my boss, he came to me and he said, Dave, what are you going to do next? You going to make a movie? You got to make a movie. He had just gotten back from the Telluride Film Festival where Robert Rodriguez had just finished and presented El Mariachi. Now, if you don't know anything about El Mariachi, you got to go look this up, especially if you're interested in filmmaking, okay? Because El Mariachi was made ostensibly for $7,000. And Robert had made this film, and he's got a great book about it called Rebel Without a Crew. You got to go check that out. He made this film for $7,000. Now, really, what that got him was a non-sync sound, 3/4 inch rough cut of the movie. Okay, and despite Sony saying, oh, it was only $7,000, well, the movie I went and saw on the screen was about $2 million because they had taken this $7,000 tape and they said, this is great, go finish it, and then we're going to buy it, we're going to clean it up, we're going to do a sound mix, we're going to add some music, we're going to do big color, we're going to blow it up to film, we're going to put it on the movie theater. Well, they don't tell you any of that stuff when they're marketing you their film. Come see this amazing movie this guy made for $7,000. Okay, well, you try making a movie for $7,000. I did, and we blew through that in the first week. My first film was called Backlash. Now, here's just a little backstory on it, okay? My friend Jake and I met while we were still at school, still at Cal Poly. We met in a Francois Truffaut class. Backlash was to be our project that we were going to do together because I couldn't produce it by myself. I needed help. You have to shoot on film at that time, and you've got to get film, which is expensive, and you got to figure out how to use the cameras, and you got to get a camera, and you got to do all these things that today's day and age, it seems real easy, right? You can make it on your phone. I mean, it's no big deal. But back then, it was a huge deal. I got a bunch of my friends together, Garth and Kevin and Rob and Neil and Greg and Jake, and our buddy Artie came on, who was also a tour guide that we knew, and Dave came on to help with wardrobe. And so we had all these people that we knew that were all friends that were like, all right, we can figure this out. So we're all like, okay, how do we put our heads together to do this thing? We started producing before we even had a finished script. Big mistake, huge mistake. We started casting, we started going for locations, we started doing all these things and putting this machinery in place. I went and bought a camera, a CP16. Big mistake, because we ended up chasing our tail in terms of trying to figure out the story all the way to the end of the movie.
These pieces of paper have written on them the opinions of everybody in the room on how this movie should end.
Tommy
I gotta tell you, from a writer and a director standpoint, doing this really, really sucks.
We ran into problems and had to rewrite and rewrite again, and like the story structure didn't quite make sense, and then the actors were like, I don't really get this. And I mean, we did it backwards. And just a word of caution, okay? If your passion is driving you to something and you still have some people that are saying, hey, watch out for this thing, or you might want to consider this, or hey, have you thought about that? Take a moment, take a breath, and listen. Listen. Get yourself some mentors, get yourself some wisdom in your life, and then listen to them. I had a friend early on, he was a television producer, very, very successful, and he cautioned me. He cautioned me about going into production too soon without a script that was ready. And I didn't listen. And that led to so many problems. It's not even funny. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, and I will share some of those problems with you, I promise. Okay, these next couple of videos that I'm going to make are going to show you and tell you some of the mistakes that I made on Backlash, because some of them get really interesting. Right, some of them involve guns, others involve police, some involve blood, some involved jumping off bridges, literally. Some involved dogs that had been shot in the desert. There were so many problems. Some of these stories involve Uzis and trying to blow up cars. Some of them involve meth labs in the middle of the desert. Some of them involve spud guns in the early hours of the morning. Others involve not exactly legal activity to finish the movie. So there are, I can't even believe I'm gonna tell these stories. But the time has come. The time has come. So if you stick around, if you subscribe to the channel, I'm going to tell you some of these stories. And the point being is that I want you to learn from my mistakes. Okay? I want you to be able to follow your own passion, but to do it wisely, to do it smart, to do it in ways that will save you years worth of headache and trial and error and trying to figure all this stuff out on your own. If I can be a resource for you, please let me be a resource for you, because I was too strong-headed when I was younger to be able to listen to somebody like me giving a video talk like this that might have helped me. I wanted to do things my own way. And boy, I paid the price. So I'll get into some of that stuff with you, okay? So stick around, and it's coming your way in these next videos, okay? I promise. So do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and come back for more, because I'm going to tell you the story of making Backlash.
Just be a crazy, insane person to go out and make the film you want to make. You have to have passion. You absolutely have to want to do it, because it's crazy. I don't envy anybody in this position, do you?